Hey guys, it's Al with techmadeezy, and thank you so much for clicking on our video. Guys, I've got great news, all right? I was at the hospital and the Delta Pro 3 had a baby, and I was the first one to hold her. And she's right there, the Delta 3 Plus. Look at that thing. It's got that sleek look, just like the Delta Pro 3. It is smaller, it is lighter, and it actually has some really good power. And this thing can handle 1,000 watts of solar input. It's got two XT60i ports, which we're going to show you that during our close-up. And here's another thing. This is expandable. I can take the Delta Pro 3 battery and connect it to the Delta 3 Plus. Is that amazing or what? So that means I can go to 5 kilowatts or 5,000 watt hours, which is nice. Listen, in this video, I'm going to be doing an unboxing. I'm going to be doing a close look. I'm going to do a solar test. I'm going to do some other tests. And I'm going to provide detailed specs and more. So why don't we go ahead and get this party started? Hi, this is Al from techmadeezy with a really quick message. The video you're about to watch is sponsored. We received this product from the vendor. But keep in mind, we will be very honest with you as we review the product. That is very important to us. If you like our video, I sure hope you give us a thumbs up. I hope you share our video. And last, I really hope you subscribe and become a part of the family. Thank you. So here's a slide on what we're covering in this video to help you out. We'll also have some timestamps in the video description. So hit pause if you want to take a look at it, but we're going to move on. Well, I think she likes it. Why don't we go ahead and get it unboxed? And there she goes. The Delta 3 Plus. I'll tell you, that's a little baby compared to the Delta Pro 3, but as you can see, it's got that same look. As you can see, we're going to take a close look at this, of course, and go over detailed specs, but you get your quick start guides, you get a car charger, you get the barrel port plug, you get an AC cord. You don't get the chew bone. That's for sunshine. But let's spend some time taking a close look and going over detailed specs. And then we'll do some more. All right, we're going to start off with a close look. Then later on, we'll go over specs. All right. And just so you'll know, this is hopefully going to be available soon. I don't have pricing at the time of making this video, but links will be in the video description, and hopefully we'll have a discount for you as well with a code. I'm hoping for that. So as you can see here, I mean, this thing has a totally new design, and it is a mini version of the Delta Pro 3. As you can see, it's got a new display. And let's zoom in and go over just some of the buttons and stuff. As you can see here in the left-hand corner, you've got your AC on and off, power for the unit, and USB on and off. So right up on top, USB ports, your AC ports, as you can see on the front. Your fans, by the way, on this, just so you'll know, actually go from the top side. So the air will circulate throughout the unit, which is nice. The older Delta products, they had the fans that would pretty much go through left to right, right to left, but didn't do a really good job being quiet, or they did a decent job cooling the unit. Let's say that. I'll take a look at the handles in a minute, but again, more design here on the right, same thing on the left. All right, we'll take a look at the bottom too. And the back, you're going to have a couple of options back here we'll go over. You've got your solar ports. Back here, you've got your expansion battery. Check that out. and then you've got your AC plug. We'll go over a little bit more detail on all of the outlets and everything. But again, fans here. Let's take a look at the top for a second. Let me take the camera off and show you the handles and the top. All right, so they've got a nice, cool design on the top. And as you can see, plenty of room, by the way, for the handles on the top. And no rubber or anything down here, just so you'll know. So, you know, it's not that heavy. I guess that's the reason why. But let's take a look at the bottom, and then we can go over detailed specs. Here's the bottom of the unit. And they do have thicker rubber here and here. They decided to go with a silver color or a gray color versus a black, which is what they'd normally have with the others. You have some specs on here, by the way, your serial number. And these are, you know, pretty thick, so they'll do the job as far as, you know, just lifting it above. So, you know, as far as like, you know, hardwood floors, stuff like that, those will work fine. All right, let's talk about specs now. So power. This is an 1800 watt power station that can support surges up to 3,600 watts. But keep in mind, surge is going to be really short. You're talking a couple seconds. This also has X boost, so it'll support up to 2,200 watts. But I'm going to have a note on X boost in the towards the end of the video. You want to look at that. You don't want to turn on X boost for everything. I promise you. I actually burnt out a beautiful Keurig Supreme Plus coffee maker because I had X boost on when I was actually testing it. So just remember that. This does have a UPS, by the way. 10 milliseconds or faster. I mean, the previous model was like 30 milliseconds. So it's really nice. And yes, this has a pure sine wave inverter. So the clean power, you're not going to get noise, you know, when you plug a fan into this, you're not going to get a humming noise. When you plug in a TV, you're not going to get any distortion. Very, very nice. Battery capacity, let's talk about that. So the battery on this is 1,024 watt hours, right? Or a kilowatt hour. That's what they call that, 1 kilowatt hour. Now, it is lithium iron phosphate. And the cycles have improved. So they're saying this can support 4,000 cycles, and then it goes to 80%. That means you can use this from 100 to 0, 100 to 0, 4,000 times. I mean, you'll be using this for years, especially if you maintain it, because I'm going to try to get you some maintenance information, and I'll put it towards the end of the video. I'm going to try to get that. Again, it's hard to get stuff when it's new. But 4,000 cycles to 80%. Now, they state that this has the potential for a 10-year lifespan, maybe even more. But they're saying, EcoFlow is saying, you know, a potential 10-year lifespan on the unit, the battery. That is crazy. By the way, this is expandable. And so you saw in the back when we took the close look that it has a battery port. Now, what's cool about that, and by the way, this does slide in, is this will support a few batteries. Now, I'm not going to say anything right now because I have to test some also and clarify a little bit more with EcoFlow. They are saying Delta 2 Max batteries. They're saying Delta 2 batteries. They're even saying Delta Pro 3 battery, which is 4,096 watt hours. So this can go to 5, kilowatt hours or 5,000 watt hours. Now, there might be more batteries compatible. Give us time. I'll have more of that information later on. But that is really, really cool that you can add that. That's runtime, right? When you have a larger battery, it gives you more runtime. By the way, this does have Bluetooth. It does have Wi-Fi. And let's go ahead. Oh, by the way, the warranty on this is 5 years. So really good warranty. Let's go over input and output and ports. Let's do that. let's talk about input for a minute, right? Input, like solar and plugging it into the wall and a car charger, right? So AC input max is 1500 watts. If your outlet can support that, you're talking about charging this to 100% in 56 minutes. Now solar, that's the good stuff. So I showed you a moment ago, but now I really want to show you that this has two XT60Is. And they support 11 to 60 volt, 15 amp. You're talking 500 watts on each for 1,000 watts of solar. All right. Now let me show you, I'm going to do a close-up real quick of the XT60i so you can actually see the extra pin. And the solar cable has to be an XT60i cable also, don't forget. That doesn't come with this power station. You have to buy it separate. We'll put the link in the video description, but let me show you the port and let's do a close-up so you can see what the XT60i is. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit here, and I want you to look at the top where my finger is. See there, up there? There are metal pins. And that's basically going to give you, it's basically going to support when you're using the right cable, the XT60i cable. It'll actually give you more of a charge. You'll actually see it'll support more power versus just XT60. So don't use a regular XT60 cable because then you'll see a difference. You'll definitely see a difference. Now, besides solar, remember, this has a car charger that's included, right? It comes with it. We did that in the unboxing. So you can get about 96 watts out of the car charger, okay? 12 volt, 8 amps. So it's not going to charge fast, but if you need to use it, you do get a car charger, which is nice. Now, other ways you can charge this, by the way, let me tell you, this is compatible with the EcoFlow 800 watt alternator charger. Why? Because it has the same port. All right, we did a video on the EcoFlow 800 watt alternator charger. I'm going to put an image up right here so you could see it. All right, now I'll put a link in the video description also. But think about it, while you're driving or while your vehicle is on, you can get up to 800 watts to charge this. All right. Obviously, you could use solar, right? But then you have to park your vehicle, set up your panels. You can use a car charger, but that's only going to give you 100 watts. So this is phenomenal that you can get up to 800 watts while you're driving using the power of your vehicle. And again, using this port. So check our video out. It'll be in the link will be in the video description. Now, this does support a gas generator. And the max would be 1,400 watts. Not this, by the way. I don't know why I'm pointing to that. A regular gas generator, you're going to have to plug it in. You're just going to have to plug the cable in, and it'll support up to 1,400 watts. It'll charge 100% within 56 minutes, estimated, okay? Now, this also supports the EcoFlow smart generators. And it's going to use this port, by the way. And they say the max input using a smart generator is 1,500 watts. So we'll figure that out, but that's pretty cool. What about output? All right, let's talk about output now. So as you can see, you've got 6 AC outlets. Again, 1,800 watts. With a surge of 3,600 watts. Now, don't forget, that's only for a few seconds on the surge, okay? They do support X-Boost also, 2,200 watts. But don't forget, go to the video a little bit later on and learn a little bit about X-Boost before you use it. Make sure it's off until you know more about it. As you can see here now, let me zoom into some of the USB ports. Some beautiful stuff here. We now have 140 watt USB Type-C, and you have 2 of them. You could plug in your MacBook Pro and charge it, so that's really nice. And then you have 2 fast charge USB Type-A. The cool thing about these, by the way, is they're 36 watts. normally would be 18 watts, but they're 36 watts. So they actually support 36 watts, which I was honestly pretty impressed. Now let's take a look at the other side. I'm going to zoom back out, guys. And we have more options back here. So you can plug in your phone and plug it into a car charger. And you'll be able to get about 100 and I think it's 126 watts. Yeah, 12.6 volt, 10 amp. And then you do get 2 of the DC barrel ports. These are DC 5521s. They're going to give you about 37 watts, okay? They're 12.6 volt, 3 amp. So that's really nice to have. And by the way, this is only 27.55 pounds, so it's pretty light. And it's also 12.5 kilograms, just so you'll know. This also comes with a 5-year warranty, which is really nice. Okay, this is something that I include in every one of my power station videos moving forward. It's called Know Before You Buy. And my goal with this is that you don't go out and buy something that is not going to work for you. All right? I don't want you spending the money. I don't want you to have the headache. And I can tell you how this started. I had a friend that bought a power station, and it was a small one. And because it was a power station, I believe she assumed it would power her coffee maker. And so she was extremely disappointed. And after talking with her, I tried to explain it's more about knowledge and understanding. And so that's why I put together Know Before You Buy, because I want you to think about a few things that I'm going to go over in this section. So let me get started with number 1. Number 1 is, what do you want to power? You have to just stop for a minute and say, you know what am I using this for? Is it for a camping trip? Is it for a road trip? Am I buying this in the case of an emergency if my power goes out? Am I taking this to a cabin that we go to every once in a while? Right? So what do you want to power? Refrigerators, TVs, phones, maybe the internet, a laptop, LED lights. So take a moment, write that down. What do you want to power? Number 2, do you know how much power your appliances and device require? You probably don't. Most people don't. I learned so much in the last couple of years, and I still don't know everything. So I'm going to be showing you an accessory towards the end of this video that I highly recommend you get, because it's going to help you, determine how much power your laptop uses, your TV uses, your phone uses. But let's stick to this page here. So number 2, how much power? So you need to know that, okay? And the other thing is, some of these devices have startup wattage, surge wattage. If you're going to be powering a refrigerator uses wattage, but then it has a compressor that kicks on to make the refrigerator cold, and that can use hundreds of watts, especially older type refrigerators. Let's look at some examples real quick on the bottom. LED lights can use 5, maybe 10 watts. Those are the newer LED lights, right? Laptops can use 100. They could use more. It just depends on how old it is. Is it a gaming laptop, TVs can vary. New TVs use 100 to 200 watts, those thin TVs. But if you have a larger one, it could use 300 watts. If you have an older one, well, those can use like 300-400 watts. And what about a CPAP, right? If you have to sleep overnight and you have to use a CPAP, well, those can vary from 50 to 150 watts, probably more, probably less. Let's take a look at the next section. So here's part 3. How long, right? How long will you need to power the appliances or devices? Now, again, let's just say it's for an emergency, right? Maybe your power goes out once a year for like 8 to 12 hours. Let's use that as an example. All right? But you have to know, or at least have an idea before you make a purchase, because how long really connects with the battery size of the power stations. So let's look at the next slide. So let's put it all together, right? Number 1, what do you want to power? What devices
or appliances? Have a list of that. Number 2, how much power do the appliances and devices require? Now, the tool or accessory I'm going to show you coming up is going to help you do that. And number 3, how long will you need to power them, right? Number 3, again, pertains to the size of the battery, right? But number 1, and number 2 really pertains to the power of the unit, because each of these power stations have different power ratings. So here's an accessory that I'm going to recommend. And the brand, don't worry about the brand, because sometimes this brand's not available. I'll make sure links are in the description. But this device here, and I'm going to demo it in a moment so you can see it. I'm going to show it to you. It's real simple. But if you're new to it, it's intimidating, right? So this sells for around $25, and you can connect devices and appliances up to 1,875 watts. So just be aware, or 15 amps. Now, again, I don't expect you to know that, but I have to tell you that because if you plug in, let's say, a 3,000 watt toaster oven, it's not going to work on this, okay? But let me demo it for you. But what this will do is it will help you understand the wattage that your devices and appliances use. So let's check out the demo. So we're going to do a simple demo, so you know what this device is about. Again, it doesn't cost much, first of all, right? I think it's around $25. And depending on the brand that's available, we'll put a link in the description. But just realize also that you can't plug everything into this. I believe there's like an 1,800 watt limit and a certain amount of amps. Now, I know that's complicated, but if you want to know how many watts your light is using, how many watts your refrigerator is using, how many watts your laptop uses, your phone, this is perfect for it, okay? So this is plugged into my outlet, as you can see on the wall, and now I've got this light plugged in here. So all I need to do now is turn on the light, and let's see how many watts it uses. Now, again, it is on the watt screen, and this does do more than watts, so just be aware, okay? You can actually figure out kilowatts, which is how your electric company bills you, but I don't want to get that complicated. So let me turn the light on. And look at that, we're using 6.3 watts on the LED light. That's really good, right? And again, plug in your laptop, plug in your phone. Again, you'll learn more about the wattage that your appliances use, even your coffee maker. But if this was helpful, give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. And we're going to continue on with the review. So you just saw Know Before You Buy, and hopefully you watched it, because really, I don't want you to waste your money, and buy a power station that doesn't match your needs, okay? And don't forget that device to test the wattage will be in the description of this video if you want to pick one up, okay? It's a very helpful tool. But let's spend time going over the estimated run times with this Delta 3 Plus. Now keep in mind in the upper right-hand corner, this has a 1,024 watt-hour capacity battery. All right, so let's start off with a small refrigerator, kind of like a college refrigerator, right? So those use around 75 watts. Now, keep in mind, when the compressor kicks on, it could use 125, it could use 150. So these numbers are estimates. So I'm thinking if it did use 75 watts, you could get about 12 hours. Now, when the compressor kicks on, that can go down to 6, 7, 8 hours. So just be aware. Now, what about a full-size refrigerator? Now, current refrigerators, and I'm not going to say all, but refrigerators use probably around 200 watts. Now, that's not consistent. Now, as you can see all the way to the right side, I'm asking you to see our refrigerator test, because I've got a 2021 refrigerator. It's a full-size refrigerator. I'm providing all of the specs, so go to testing to see the refrigerator test. But we got way more than 4.5 hours on our refrigerator test. But if you had a full-size refrigerator, if it's really old, let me just tell you now, your compressor could use 3, maybe 400 watts when the compressor kicks on to make the refrigerator cold. Compressors don't run all the time, all right? So when the refrigerator is cold, the compressor will stay off for a while. But if it used 200 watts, let's say, you can get about 4.5 hours. But watch our refrigerator test. It's pretty interesting. Now, what about home internet? What if you wanted your router and your modem to run? All right, that uses around 50 watts, and you can get about 18.5 hours running your router and your modem. Now, as you combine these things, obviously your time will go down. So let's say you want your TV, you want your home internet, you want your router, your modem. Well, these numbers are going to be different, but I'm just giving you a breakdown. Now, what about a fan, right? Just a typical fan, a stand-up fan would use around 60 watts. Some of them do use more, but if it uses about 60 watts, you can get about 16 hours of runtime on your fan. LED lights, let me tell you, most use about 5 watts. Some use 10, some use more or less. But in this example, if you ran an LED light, you can get over 90 hours of runtime. That means that you can run your light and charge your phones and still be good for, 1 or 2 days. Now, what if you're using a CPAP? Now, keep in mind, if you're using a CPAP that has the humidifier and the heating function, this power station can run it, but the time is going to be different, all right? This number I'm giving you is without heat and without a humidifier function. So if it was about 100 watts, you could get about 9 hours. The average laptop uses about 50. Some can use about 100. But if you had a laptop that uses 50 watts, you can get an estimated 18.5 hours. Now, let's talk a little bit about devices, right? I want to charge my iPad, my iPhone, maybe my Samsung. So an iPad 12.9 inch, right? The big iPad, you can get about 23 charges. An iPhone 14, not a Pro, just a regular 14, you can get about 75 charges. And a Samsung S23, again, a standard S23, you can get about 65 charges. I really hope this information helped you. We are now going to go over expansion batteries for the Delta 3 Plus. Now keep in mind, make sure you update your firmware on your Delta 3 Plus as well as your batteries. Now, the way you update your batteries is you want to make sure your battery is connected to the original power station. Update the power station at the same time as the battery, and then you'll be able to connect it to the Delta 3 Plus. One battery that's coming out soon is called a Delta 3 series battery. As you can see in the picture I'm showing you, it's 1,024 watt hours. Of course, it's lithium iron phosphate. It's got 3,000 cycles, and then it goes to 80%, and it is $599 right now as of November 2024. That can change. So let's talk about the expansion batteries. Now, the only battery that I don't have is, of course, the Delta 3 series battery I talked about a moment ago. Again, that is 1,024 watt hours. It's $599. So we're going to start on the right side. So you could see the Delta 3 Plus is almost the same size as a Delta 2 battery, right? That's a Delta 2 battery. So if we take a Delta 2 battery, which is 1,024 watt hours, and we combine it with the Delta 3 Plus, we get 2,048 watt hours. Now, that's going to be the same for the Delta 3 series battery, right? So that's got 1,024 watt hours. And again, you'll have 1,024 watt hours with the Delta 3 Plus, giving you 2,048 watt hours. Now, if you need more capacity, you can get a Delta 2 Max battery. Now, that battery has 2,048 watt hours. Combining it with the Delta 3 Plus, you'll have 3,072 watt hours. And of course, all the way to the left side, we have a Delta Pro 3 battery, which is compatible. Now, this is not plug and play, but let me give you the numbers.
and then let me go ahead and talk to you about an adapter you're going to need to get. So the Delta Pro 3 expansion battery is 4,096 watt hours. Combining that with the Delta 3 Plus, you're going to have 5,120 watt hours. But keep in mind, as you can see there on the floor, it requires a smart generator adapter. So let me take a moment and show you what that's all about. So here is the Delta Pro 3 expansion battery. One thing you're going to notice when we open this port is that is not the same as the back of the Delta 3 Plus. So what you're going to need is the smart generator adapter. We'll put a link in the video description. What's going to happen is it's going to, basically, we're going to connect this way, plug it in, and then it's going to give us that same adapter that you have on the Delta 3 Plus, allowing you to now connect this and get over 5,000 watt hours. Again, our links will be in the video description, but very important to know. All right, this is dead. And we're going to plug it in right now and see how long it takes to charge. So let me just get the plug it in. It is 9:18 officially. 9:18, and let's watch some of the wattage and what we're going to get. All right, 400, 600. Okay, going back up again. 400. 500. We should definitely get over 1,000 watts, but maybe it's 500 due to the temperature of the unit. We just finished a refrigerator test, but I didn't want to let this sit, honestly, at 0. It's really not good. So we've already got 1%. All right, 9:18 p.m. Let's see how long this takes to charge. Keep in mind, because the unit is a little warmer than usual, it might take a while, but we'll find out. 30 minutes charging. Let's see what we got. 62%. Isn't that amazing? In 30 minutes, and we started off slow. It's pumping 1,473 watts in right now. All right, 62%, 30 minutes in. We'll check again. 45 minutes charging. 85%, 45 minutes. All right, let's see when it's full. A little over an hour. And yeah, about an hour and 2 minutes, and we're 99% with 500 watts going in. An hour and 2 minutes. 1 hour and 5 minutes. We're 100%. 1 hour and 5 minutes. Not bad, not bad. One of the things we really need, even when the power goes out, is a cup of coffee. So you want to make sure your power station can power your coffee maker. Listen, this is the K Supreme Plus, the Keurig K Supreme Plus. This uses about 1,400 watts to make a cup of coffee. And every single time you want to do that, you're going to be using about 1,400 watts. So obviously, the Delta 3 Plus should do this. It shouldn't be an issue. And what you want to do before you make a cup of coffee with the Delta 3 Plus is you want to turn off X-Boost. It can damage the coffee maker, believe it or not. I already did that. If you watch my River 2 Pro video, I actually had to throw out a coffee maker. So let's go into the Delta 3 Plus. Let's go into the settings. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to look for X-Boost. As you can see, it's off. Good news. So we're done with that. Let's put that aside. AC is on. All right. What we're going to do now is we're going to just lift this up. So we have power. I'm going to do a 4-ounce cup, so we're not waiting here all day. And when I hit the button, we're going to watch the screen.
and see how much wattage. All right. There it goes. Watch this. 1,417 watts. And now it's consistently using that much wattage. It's going up and down. Coffee's coming out. I could smell it. Ooh, it's good. And as you can see, it's making a cup of coffee. That's really good. But again, depending on your coffee maker, it might not. But a nice little unit. Now it goes to 0 because it's finishing up. We're only doing a 4 ounce. If we were doing an 8 ounce or a 12 ounce, it might run longer. So that's good. So does this now work on a microwave? That's the next question. We're going to test this microwave and see, will it work? We are now going to do a microwave test. But again, before you use a microwave with the Delta 3 Plus, go back to the coffee maker test we just did and turn off X-Boost. Okay, just make sure it's off. You don't want to use X-Boost with a microwave. Now, our unit says it's 1,100 watts, but believe it or not, it's a lot more than that. Again, because it has a surge, something that we're not really aware of in most cases. Some people are. So I got popcorn in there. I'm going to turn on the AC outlet and make sure it can power it. All right, we got power. And will it work? This is kind of borderline because I think this almost uses like 1,800 watts. But we're going to watch the screen here. I'm going to hit start. I'm going to hit 2 minutes. I'm not going to let it run the whole 2 minutes. Once we hear popping, I'll stop it. But we'll watch the screen. All right. To 1,700 watts straight up. Did you see that? It shot right up. 1762. All right, so look at that. Consistently using 1,700 watts. Again, X-Boost is off. And in a moment, we should hear some popping. And we shouldn't have any issues. Again, this for a small power station. This thing is really, you know, a nice machine. 1,770 something watts I just saw on the screen. All right, here's some popping. All right, so check that out. This thing can make popcorn almost 1,800 watts. I'm going to go ahead and hit stop now. Yeah, I know, I'm wasting popcorn. Pretty cool. Next question is going to be, can I actually power this full-size refrigerator right here? Can I? It's a full-size refrigerator. And I promise I'm going to be giving you some information on the refrigerator so you'll know, obviously, the size and the model number. It's a 2021 Samsung refrigerator. I don't know. Let's check this out. All right. Well, good morning. We are about to start our refrigerator test on the Delta 3 Plus. It's 7:44 in the morning. And while this little monster, this is Sunshine, by the way, our new girl, while she plays with her new toy, what we're going to do is put some specs up on the refrigerator. This is a fairly new refrigerator. I believe it's 2021. I'm going to put an image up on the right side. Take a look at that so you'll have an understanding of what refrigerator we're using. It's not old, and it has been very efficient for us. So we should do really well with this power station refrigerator test. All right? All right, the refrigerator is off. All right, and this girl is still starting trouble. But it is 7:46, and we're going to turn on AC. And then we're going to watch any type of startup wattage. All right. 156, 163. All right, so we saw 163 watts. Refrigerator's on. And 7:46, right? That's the starting time. You know, how many days, how many hours can we go? And, you know, keep in mind with refrigerators, like this one's not showing anything right now, right? That's because
This has been on for a while. Most refrigerators don't consistently use wattage, at least newer ones. But what they'll do from time to time is the compressor will kick on. That actually will use more wattage. In our case, we've seen as high as maybe 250 watts. I've never seen more. 7:46 is our starting time. We are 100% charged. Let's see how long we go with the Delta 3 Plus. And Sunshine, what do you think? Here she goes. Right? We gonna do good? We are a minute shy of an hour, so I figured let's take a look and see what we're dealing with at 8:45 a.m. So let me just tap the power button here. We're using 45 watts right now. Okay, that's good. And we're 94%, an hour in, and we're 94%. Not bad. All right, we'll keep checking. Here's our 3-hour check. We are still powering the refrigerator. Let's see what the screen says. 3 hours. All right, no wattage going out. The fan is running. You could see that there in the corner. The fan's running. We've got 79%. 3 hours in. That's pretty darn good. 3 hours in, 79%. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are at 6 hours now. This thing is still going. And after this, I am going to make an egg sandwich on a sesame bagel. I like bagels. They're not good for you, but I like bagels. Anyway, let's see what we got here. 57%. Wow, 57% with 6 hours. What does that mean? We're going to get 12 hours? Maybe. I mean, it might go longer. It just depends. Right now, the refrigerator is actually using 80-something watts. I mean, that's the highest we've seen, throughout the day. Obviously, startup wattage was almost 200 watts in the beginning of the video. But, wow, not bad, huh? 57%. And we're 6 hours in. I'm going to make my egg sandwich on my bagel now. There it is. I really hope it's not making you hungry. It's a simple egg sandwich. No bacon today, but I missed the bacon. We are doing an 8-hour check, and I'll be honest with you, the bagel with egg was really good, if you want to know. All right, so 8-hour check. Let's see what we're dealing with here. 40%. And we've got 45, 46 watts going out to the refrigerator. So 40% in 8 hours, that's pretty nice. 10-hour check. Let's see where we're at. 10 hours. There we go. 65 watts being used at 24% left. 66 watts being used. 10 hours with 24% left. All right, well, we'll see how it goes. We are doing a 12-hour check. We started at 7:46 in the morning. Wow, 12 hours. What do we have left? 9% with 53 watts, 54 watts going out. 12 hours and 9% left. We're coming to the end, but that's pretty darn cool. 12.5 hours now. What do we have? Oh, 6%. The fan is running. 12.5 hours, 6% remaining. Pretty interesting. Oh yeah, 13 hours. When is this going to die? 3% with 53 watts going out, 54, 55 watts. 3%, 13 hours. And think about it. You could plug in your phone, you can plug in your laptop, you can plug in LED lights, you can plug solar in and go even longer. Well, it's 3%. Let's see what happens. All right, here's the thing. It's 9:04. It's almost 13 and a half hours, but we're on 1%. We've got 45 watts being pulled out. So we're on the final end of this thing. 1%, almost 13.5 hours. 13 and a half hours. Well, I guess we'll see. We'll probably get 13 and a half hours. I think we will. 13 and a half hours. We're still going with 46 watts going out. 13 and a half hours, holding on to that last 1%. That is amazing. That is amazing. This is actually 13 and a half hours. This just turned off. We were 10 minutes shy a moment ago. So wow, 13 and a half hours. Got to plug this back in. That's really good. It's time to do our solar test, and on the right we actually have a EcoFlow. This is a new panel. It's a 220 watt NexGen bifacial solar panel. That means that it can take light from the back and sun from the front and actually produce more wattage. All right, this is a brand new panel. We'll put links in the video description. This is the Delta 3 Plus, and this panel is only 220 watt, right? The Delta 3 Plus can handle up to 1,000 watts of solar because it has 2 ports in the back. We'll show you in a minute. And it's really important that when you go out to buy a solar panel, that you buy one that meets your power station needs. If it over exceeds, you can actually damage your power station. So let's take a moment and go over some of those specs. So the Delta 3 Plus has 2 XT60 ports in the back. All right, and each of them can handle 500 watts. But here's the important part. It'll do a minimum of 11 and a maximum of 60 volts. So 11 to 60 volt, 15 amp. All right, on each of the ports, which means you can do 1,000 watts of solar, which is nice. Now, let's take a look at those specs and match it up to the panel. So the panel actually is 21.5 volt open circuit voltage. So that's way under. I could take 2 of these panels easily and you know, connect them in series. And the short circuit current on the panel is 12.4 amp. So as you can see, the panel is way below the Delta 3 Plus specs for solar. So let's take a look at the solar ports on the back of the Delta 3 Plus and let's do this test. Now before we do the test, let me just tell you that the Delta 3 Plus does not come with a solar cable. So I'll put a link in the video description so you can pick one up. Now keep in mind, it needs to be an XT60i cable. See that little metal piece here? All right, that's an XT60i. It needs to be that. If it's not, it won't function well. All right, so make sure you look for our links in the video description. And a couple of other things. Now, we don't need this anymore. I'll show you the panel. It actually has one built in. This is a solar angle guide, but it has one built in. So we'll put that aside. You do need longer solar cable. I highly recommend that you get some longer solar cable so you can take the panel and put it out in the sun and move it far from the power station while the power station sits in the shade. And the last thing I would recommend is a MC4 disconnector tool. All right, this actually disconnects the cables when you're done. It makes it a little easier. But let's take a look at the Delta 3 Plus back and look at the solar connections. So as you can see down here, you've got the 2 XT60i ports. Again, yeah, really cool, up to 500 watts on each. Again, 11 to 60 volt, 15 amp, all right? And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to connect this. We're going to turn it around and see what we get out of this 220 watt bifacial solar panel. Now before I connect it, you got to see that this is a redesigned panel, right? And it actually now has these bars which make it so that the sun can reach the back or some light can reach the back. Now let me show you this solar angle guide that's built in now. I want to see. It's really hard to show, but this little panel here actually now has a solar angle guide built in. And as you can see, the shadow is slightly to the bottom right. So we'll adjust the panel slightly, but that is so cool that it actually has a solar angle guide built into the panel. All right, I adjusted the panel, all right? I'm gonna plug this in and turn this around as quick as I can. And we'll see, you know, what we get in the power station. All right, let's turn this around and it'll turn on. And then we'll see what we get. All right. Okay, it turned on. Let's see. 130, 164, 165. So we're getting 167. Not bad, not bad. All right, so I'm seeing a maximum of 167. It is 58 degrees and there's no clouds in the sky. So it says this is 81%. It'll take 1.4 hours to charge to full if it stays at 167 watts coming in from the solar panel. All right, so there's a little information on solar. I hope that helped you. All right, so here is the solar cable, right? And this is the solar disconnector tool. Now I'm going to make sure that all this stuff is in the video description if you want to buy some of this stuff. And by the way, no additional cost to you. You help us support our channel. But as you can see, there are 2 pins on each side that are kind of difficult sometimes to get in. And this is basically what this does. You see these 2 pins here. So you take this, you put this on the bottom. Just lay this on the bottom. And then as you can see now, it's actually putting pressure on the 2 pins. All you do is pull and you're done. That's it. Pretty cool. As promised, here's some information on what X-Boost is. Hit pause if you want to review this. And here's some information on storage and maintenance, especially the battery health there on the bottom. Again, hit pause to review. This is on the online manual if you need to get it also. All right, so what did you think? I mean, put some comments down below and let me know what you think. I'm pretty impressed. It's a nice little unit, you know? It reminds me of a Delta 2, to be honest with you, but obviously it's definitely nice looking, and the specs have improved. So if you found this video helpful, do me a huge favor. Take a moment and give us a thumbs up. I'd greatly appreciate that. Share it also with your friends and your family. I'm going to put our social media right up top. If you want to go ahead and follow us on social media, you want to check out our new Tesla channel in the upper right hand corner. It's a brand new channel. Give us time, but look us up on YouTube at My Tesla Journey 1. And I'm going to put a video here for you if you actually want to watch it right here on the right hand side. And if you want to subscribe to our channel here at techmadeezy and join the family, go ahead and click this round techmadeezy logo right there. And you'll be able to join the family very quickly. All right? Hey, thank you so much for your time. I greatly appreciate it.